we're going to take a look at some of the current issues in organizational behavior as a result of COVID-19. Now, we identified a lot of issues in the first section, which excluded COVID-19. So now this just is added on top of it. These are historic times in the field of organizational behavior. We're going to be looking at this from the cutting edge of what's happening today, because that's what's relevant to you and I in the future of business. So when we're looking at things, we want to look at them from both the employee perspective and the employer perspective. Let's take a look at some of them. Well, employees are concerned with their personal safety. No matter what business you're in, there can be fear. Companies have to deal with that. But people need to generate income. So there's going to be this balance between my fear, my safety, and how am I going to generate income. Our job security. Will my job be there? Will it go away? All things management needs to deal with. Work process changes. We've learned how, and we've had to learn how to do things differently. And with the advent of working remotely, there's new skills that may be needed. So people are concerned about that. What about the social aspect of work and benefits? There is a social aspect to work. It's not just coming in and working, but it's engaging with other people. Concerned about that. We got to look at that. Ability to adapt to working remotely. We're doing that now. So hopefully you're adapting to this modality of learning. We've got it nailed down for you. Hopefully. Let me know if it isn't working. Childcare, something I don't need to deal with, but many employees do. Trauma, as we talked about earlier. PTSD. Anytime somebody coughs, are we going to think COVID? People sick? Now look at it from the employer perspective. A safety of employees and customers. Physical and behavioral health. How are my employees going to be? How are my customers? Legal liability for safety. This is one that is out there. Congress is trying to deal with it, but it's very interesting that if I'm an employer, what's my liability for keeping my workplace safe? So if somebody does get ill or injured, am I going to be held responsible for that? That's one that I think we're going to see come up over the next couple months very detailedly. Design of the workplace, how we lay it out. For those of you that are on campus, you can see a lot of changes from how that has worked. How to facilitate work teams. How do you work in a team? We're going to try that, working in teams and doing things here in this class. Let's take a look at how to change workplace practices, how we do things, how we touch things, how we handle things. How do we build the skills of our employees so they can handle the new world? And then preparing for another round of remote working. What is going to happen? We don't know. So these are the things, you can look at where will there be customers? And then if it's a slow recovery, who do you keep? Who do you eliminate? Do you find the very best people at what they do? Do you pick those that are at less risk of the disease? Do you pick with those that don't have some of these issues? So if I have an employee who's dealing with childcare, might I consider eliminating them before I would eliminate someone who doesn't have to deal with that? What point of view am I going to take? The work environment itself, the old ways aren't coming back. The world has changed forever. That's just simply the way it is. A school isn't going to be the same. Start thinking about how to organize work for a distributed workforce, meaning we're not all together. Accelerate best practices around collaboration, flexibility, inclusion, and accountability. What are they going to be? We can't have traditional organizational structures. They're going to change. That's what we're going to take a little look at as we try to go through this. Stop locking in practices that speed up decision-making and execution. Start looking at practices. Speed. Accelerate the transition to agility. We need to be agile. Some of you may have watched the movie Dodgeball. And if you watch the movie Dodgeball, email me and tell me what agility means. We'll see how many people get this far. Start redesigning supply chains to optimize resilience and speed. How resilient, how can it respond? Accelerate nearshoring and the use of advanced technologies. Focusing on leadership and working with partners to create a better future. We'll look at this when we take a look at Dr. Deming from a historical perspective. What he's saying is very much true today. Accelerate the reallocation of resources and infrastructure investment. Where do we need them? I put an article in there, Thinking About the Future. It's from McKinsey, and it looks at the firm from all points of organization. Process, people, and leadership. This will clearly be covered in Quiz 1. A few things out there for you to get thinking about this. It's in part 2. There's a really good piece. These are from presentations that were done in the summer for this class, Organizational Behavior. This is an interesting, reopening the coronavirus era office, 1-person elevators and more. You are being watched. This is an interesting one as to how employers are going to monitor behavior of employees. Transition in the workplace from pre to post COVID-19. These will get you a good sense of what's going on, but also some of the dialogue we have in our current events presentation. So this is all part of it. The good thing about doing this online is you don't have to be in the classroom to watch these. You can watch and listen to these on the go. You can watch them at home anytime you want. So that gives you a little introduction to where we are. These are current issues. We're going to keep modifying things as we go to bring in new thoughts, but the biggest piece of the new thoughts is going to be you in current presentations and in your reflections. What does it mean to you, and how can you successfully navigate this post-COVID-19 workplace? As always, if you have any questions, please let me know.